The date is March 13, 2006. An ordinary bank in an ordinary city becomes the epicenter of an extraordinary drama. SWAT teams, a blur of dark uniforms and cold steel, descend, encircling the building like predators closing on their prey. A helicopter's rotors beat a rhythmic pulse against the sky, its searchlight painting nervous circles on the asphalt. Tactical units stack at the entrance, weapons raised, every muscle tensed for the impending breach. They know, with chilling certainty, that their target is trapped within those walls. The vault, they are convinced, is still brimming with its stolen secrets. But just 60 meters away, unseen, unheard, a man savors the final morsel of his meal. He wears a headset, almost imperceptible, a direct line into the very heart of the police operation. Every command, every tactical movement, every whispered position, it all flows directly into his ear. He hears the breach order given, the signal for the storm. With a calm, almost serene turn of the key, he drives away. By the time SWAT explodes through the doors, the vault is a hollow echo. The man is gone. He'd been listening for months. He knew their response times, precise to the second. He had robbed banks across 3 countries, even parachuted onto an imperial palace for a crown jewel, escaping police custody through ceiling vents at 16. But here's the twist. The man who outsmarted every alarm, every camera, every cop, was caught by the most foolish mistake imaginable. How did one thief turn police radios into his greatest weapon? And what breathtakingly careless error finally exposed the ghost in the system? This isn't a story about brute force or lucky breaks. It's a dive into the mind of a criminal mastermind, Gerald Blanchard. A man who didn't just break the law, but meticulously deconstructed the very systems designed to uphold it. We'll explore the psychological chess match between a singular intellect and the full might of international law enforcement. This is the tale of a boy who saw the world as a series of codes and learned to rewrite them to his will. It's a chilling reminder that even the most impenetrable fortresses are only as strong as the assumptions of their architects. Prepare to question everything you think you know about security and the human element that can both build and unravel it. Long before Interpol bulletins carried his name like a whispered curse, Gerald Daniel Blanchard was just a quiet kid in Winnipeg. He arrived in this world wired differently. While other children chased pucks on icy streets, 8-year-old Gerald was a meticulous engineer, a budding hacker of the analog world. His battlefield, the kitchen table, his weapons, a Phillips head screwdriver, and an insatiable curiosity. Alarm clocks became intricate maps of gears. VCRs yielded their secrets of regional locks and forbidden channels. His mother found towers of disassembled radios beneath his bed. Every device, a locked door, every circuit, a puzzle. He craved the key to them all. Then, at 12, an event that would forge his destiny. His family moved to the quiet sprawl outside Omaha, Nebraska. Within months, a local bank initiated foreclosure on their home over a paltry $2,000. Gerald watched his mother weep at the kitchen table, her helplessness stark against the men in suits, their voices cold with legal jargon. He saw the sheriff arrive, nailing the foreclosure notice to their front door. In that moment, a profound truth etched itself into young Gerald's mind. Institutions held power, and power followed rules. But rules, he realized, were merely code, and all code, he instinctively understood, could be decoded. Gerald's tinkering had evolved into real-world experimentation. Best Buy became his personal laboratory. Walkmans and cordless phones were shoplifted, then returned with forged receipts created on his school's photocopier. He walked out with cash refunds for merchandise he never paid for. The store's loss prevention systems, built on the assumption that a polite, smiling teenager with a receipt couldn't possibly be a thief, were a gaping vulnerability. Gerald didn't just find the assumption, he weaponized it. At 16, his illicit earnings bought him a house, outright in cash. While his classmates worried about driving tests, the real estate agent, perhaps too eager for the commission, asked no questions. One frigid Nebraska night, a misguided favor escalated into a full-blown catastrophe. Gerald and a friend agreed to help another teenager torch his car for an insurance payout. In a remote cornfield, they doused the rusted Pontiac with far too much gasoline. The resulting fireball screamed into the night, painting the horizon orange, black smoke twisting skyward. Sirens wailed within minutes. His accomplice bolted for the tree line, vanishing into the darkness. Gerald did the opposite. He walked towards the approaching patrol cars, hands clearly visible, rehearsing his routine as a concerned citizen. Officers smelled accelerant on his jacket before he finished his first rehearsed sentence. Handcuffs clicked. A squad car delivered him to the Sarpai County Sheriff's Station. Inside the interrogation room, deputies, dismissive of a scrawny teenager from a farm town, left him unshackled, deeming him no flight risk. They stepped out to confer. Gerald, ever the observer, assessed his surroundings. Cinder block, a bolted metal table, a two-way mirror, and above it all, a drop ceiling. Standard acoustic tiles, an 18-inch crawl space. He climbed the table, pushed a tile, and vanished into the darkness. Cold aluminum ducts scraped against his ribs. He army crawled towards the back of the building. Below, a door opened, and a deputy's voice bellowed his name. Gerald kept moving. He reached a junction, punched through a tile above what sounded like a storage room, and dropped onto a shelf stacked with file boxes. He slipped out a rear fire exit into the biting night air. In the gravel lot, his friend waited in an idling Buick, ears glued to a Radio Shack scanner. Through the static came frantic chatter.
Suspect in the vents. Lock down the building.
Headlights flicked on. Gerald sprinted across the frozen gravel, wrenched open the passenger door, and dove inside. As they peeled onto the county road, he clutched two souvenirs snatched from an unattended desk, a deputy's badge and a Motorola police radio. Trophies from his first successful escape. That night, something fundamental rewired in Gerald's brain. Systems, lock, alarms, even institutions. They were all designed by people, and people made assumptions. The sheriff's department assumed a teenager wouldn't think to check the ceiling. They assumed a suspect wouldn't walk towards the cops. They assumed their own radio frequency was secure. Every assumption, Gerald realized, was a vulnerability. His new job, find the assumption, exploit the gap, and vanish. The feeling of outsmarting authority wasn't just satisfying, it was electric, addictive. He needed more. By his mid-20s back in Winnipeg, Gerald had refined a dangerous thesis. A bank is just a system. Vaults follow time-lock schedules. Alarms follow circuit logic. Cameras have fixed angles. Predictable blind spots. The only truly unpredictable variable was the human response. Guards, managers, and especially the police. Control that variable, and you control the outcome. What if, instead of racing against the clock to escape before cops arrived, he invited them on his own schedule? What if he walked out while they were still en route? He called it a reverse stakeout. Most criminals case a target, then flee when alarms blare. Gerald planned to flip the sequence. He would plant surveillance weeks in advance, tap into police frequencies, and map response times down to the second. He'd even trigger test alarms to clock his exact window. Then, on the night of the heist, he would operate within that precise time frame. 6 minutes, 7, 8, vanishing before the first cruiser's tires squealed into the lot. The cops wouldn't chase him. They'd arrive to guard an empty crime scene. It sounded like a movie pitch, but Gerald was about to prove it worked. Igniting an international manhunt from the Canadian prairies to the gilded palaces of Vienna. What would it take to catch a thief who could hear every move the police made? And what treasure could possibly tempt him more than a vault stuffed with cash? Spring 2004, a brand new Canadian Imperial Bank of Commerce branch in suburban Winnipeg prepared for its grand opening. 3 nights before the ribbon cutting, Gerald Blanchard, wearing black gloves and soft-soled shoes, picked the service door lock and slipped inside. He didn't steal a single dollar, not yet. Instead, he initiated his reverse stakeout. A wireless pinhole camera, no larger than a shirt button, was meticulously placed behind a ceiling vent directly above the branch manager's desk. A $40 baby monitor transmitter, the kind found in any Walmart, was discreetly fitted behind an electrical outlet near the alarm panel. A voice-activated audio bug, a discreet purchase from a spy gadget catalog, adhered beneath the customer service counter. Gerald tested each device, confirmed crystal-clear signals, then exited, relocking the door with surgical precision. For 2 weeks, Gerald haunted the bank's periphery in a rented van, listening. He logged security guard patrol intervals, 12-minute loops, clockwise, a pause at the ATM vestibule, then back to the break room. Clockwork. He recorded the cleaning crew's schedule, Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. 2 women who never checked the server closet. He mapped camera blind spots, a 6-foot corridor, a wedge of shadow. He watched through his pinhole camera as the branch manager punched in the alarm code each morning. 6 digits, captured with perfect clarity. He memorized the sequence. One night, at 3:15 a.m., Gerald triggered a false alarm, jiggling the service door just enough to trip the magnetic sensor. He retreated to to his van to listen. 2 Winnipeg police cruisers arrived in precisely 8 minutes. Officers circled the building, flashlights cutting through the dark, rattled the locked doors, confirmed no signs of forced entry, and radioed dispatch. False alarm, premises secure. They were gone in under 4 minutes. Gerald's pen scratched in his notebook. 8-minute window minimum. On May 15th, 2004, the night before the branch's public grand opening, Gerald returned at 12:04 a.m. His girlfriend, Diakour, Angela, waited in a sedan down the block, eyes scanning, an encrypted walkie-talkie in her lap. Gerald jimmied the side door he'd pre-loosened weeks earlier and slipped into the dark lobby. The alarm keypad glowed red. He tapped the 6 digits he'd memorized from the manager's shoulder movements. The light blinked green. Silence. The vault was too time-consuming. It needed a torch or explosives, both too loud. His target, the ATM room. 7 brand-new machines, each loaded with roughly $100,000 in banded 20s and 50s, ready for Monday's grand opening. The glass door to the ATM room was unlocked. A Friday afternoon oversight by an employee rushing home. Sometimes, even genius receives a gift. Gerald had rehearsed this moment countless times on a replica ATM in his garage, sourced from a decommissioned machine he'd bought at auction. He knew precisely where to insert the pry tool, exactly how much pressure to apply. He worked with blistering speed. 4 minutes, 3 machines emptied, cash cassettes stacked in a canvas duffel. 6 minutes, 6 machines down. He deliberately left the 7th ATM untouched, a calculated false clue designed to make investigators believe the thief was interrupted or operating with incomplete information. 7 minutes in, he zipped the duffel, approximately $750,000 in banded bills. He exited through the side door, relocked it, and slid into the Dodge Caravan waiting at the curb. No squealing tires. He pulled away with headlights off, merging onto a residential street. Angela followed a block behind. 8 minutes and 14 seconds after Gerald entered the bank, 2 Winnipeg police cruisers roared into the parking lot. Officers jumped out, circled the building, rattled the doors, still locked, and peered through intact windows. Everything appeared pristine. They radioed dispatch. False alarm. Premises secure. The cruisers departed. 3 blocks away, Gerald pulled into an alley and killed the engine. He listened. Through the baby monitor feed, still transmitting from the ceiling vent, he heard the officer's radio chatter confirming the all clear. He allowed himself a slow, knowing grin. The cops had just guarded a crime scene without ever knowing a crime had occurred. Monday morning, the branch manager unlocked the front doors, flipped on the lights, and stepped into the ATM vestibule. 6 of the 7 units stood open, cash cassettes missing, faces pried off with surgical precision. The 7th was untouched. She screamed.